right, welcome back. Thanks for joining me for episode 2 of the I Hate Tipping podcast. I'm Collin, your host, and I Hate Tipping. Today on the show, I'm going to do a quick tipping story to kind of let you in on my mindset on the whole tipping phenomenon and why I stand where I stand on the subject. A few other things I'm going to try to get into. Some shit that needs to change in the world because it's already 2017 and we're far behind. I'm going to do a quick movie review, a hygiene tip, as always. Some things I like to do now that I'm getting old. A word about Hollywood, a word about a beautiful woman in Hollywood, a serious topic, and I want to talk about something I bought recently. So let's just get straight into it. First of all, thank you again for joining me. I'm going to try to get a little bit more professional with each episode, I promise. I'm going to get some sound drops to go with the different segments that I'm going to try to make sure that I incorporate into each episode so that this thing can become a thing instead of just a bunch of me talking, so it can form itself and gel correctly into a living thing. A being, if you will. Blah, 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 blah. First things first. I sold my afro back when I was young to be used in a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. And a whole bunch of other wild ass shit has happened to me in my life. And I wrote about all those things and about 200 more in a book that I'm really proud of. It's called These Things Are Mine. It's available on Amazon and Kindle. And it's I believe it's pretty damn good. Pick it up. Let me know that you picked it up. Talk to me about it. I'd be happy to talk about any of it that's in there. But be forewarned, it's very graphic, very adult. It's not for children. And it's pretty offensive in places. But I write like I talk. So if you like this show, then you'll love the book. And all right, that's enough about that. Okay, so the first thing I want to get into on today's episode number 2. I went back and listened to episode 1, and it sounded all right to me. I was like, okay, yeah, I can do this. I'm not sick anymore, but my throat's not quite right. So you'll probably hear me taking in some hydration to keep everything moist and get rid of the vocal fry. Damn it. Ever since I started listening to Your Mom's House podcast, the things that just, you start to look at the world different. I never knew anything about vocal fry or the Bristol stool chart or glassing. But yeah, so if you're not familiar with Your Mom's House podcast, that's one of my faves. I listen to a whole bunch of them because I'm a truck driver and I drive all night and I need shit to listen to. So, that one is one of my favorites. Your Mom's House podcast. It's called Your Mom's House, and it's with Tom Segura and Christina Pajitsky, who are both stand-up comedians, and it's the shit. All right, so true story. Years ago, I was with a friend and another friend and another friend and another friend, and we all went to IHOP, International House of Pancakes, for I don't know, breakfast for lunch or whatever. We just went to get some pancakes and shit. And when we were in there, of course, there was a little bit of a wait because IHOP is pretty popular. They got some pretty damn good food. Every time I've never gone to IHOP and not had to wait. So whatever. Anyway, we got in there, and after we waited and finally got seated, the waitress came by once, asked us if we wanted water or whatever. Came back 30 minutes later with water for everybody but me, if I'm remembering the story correctly. It's something like that. But she forgot my drink. I believe she didn't bring me silverware either. So there was whatever. She forgot all my shit. It took her a long ass time to come back and take our orders. And when she did, I had a question about something on the menu, and this bitch straight up snatched the menu out of my hand, like to the point where other people sitting with me, like their mouths hung open, like, wow, I can't believe this. She snatched it out of my hand. I was like, I don't know, let me see, and looked in there, and then answered the question and like basically threw it back at me. It's like, so is that what you want? And just had a fucking attitude. Then when the food finally came to us an hour later, she still forgot my drink. Like I had never got my water, and then had ordered, I don't know, orange juice or whatever on top of it with my pancakes and shit. She never brought that drink. My food was cold. After she left and I asked for my drink again, she never came back until it was time for the check. And when she brought the check back, the point that I'm getting at is I had a horrible experience at that place. Like I ate my food without a drink. My food was cold and it took over probably 2 hours by the time we were done. Like it was over an hour and a half before I actually got my food, I think. Got my food, it was cold, it was terrible, didn't have nothing to drink. She snatched my fucking menu out of my hand. She talked to me rude. I believe she put her foot up on the seat next to me when she was reading the menu to point out how dumb I was for not finding the answer to my question myself. And then when she brought the check and we all divvied up and put in, paid for whatever, my friend across from me, he said, all right, so the tip's going to be this much. And I just started laughing. I said, I'm not tipping shit. And this dude flipped out on me. He's like, no, you're supposed to tip. I'm like, did you not see what just happened? Why the fuck would I pay extra money to her with the way that she treated me, the service that I got? And his whole attitude was, you're supposed to tip. That is what you do, period. He was raised that way or whatever, or he just believed in it wholeheartedly. And I'm like, look, if they want to charge extra for the pancakes because they need more money to pay the staff, then charge more money for the pancakes. Don't tell me that I have to do math at the end of it and calculate my own extra portion to give to the people who were just doing their job and don't work as hard as I do anyway. Fuck that shit. Anyway, the point is, fuck tipping. But I got so much more to say about that. I'm going to get into that hardcore, but that just popped into my head. I remembered that dude, my friend, and I believe had that was a wrench in our relationship over that whole episode. Like he could not understand. And I told him, I said, my food was cold. It was late. I believe it was wrong. I might have ordered bacon and she gave me sausage. Like the whole thing, I just remember everything was wrong. She was rude to me. She put her foot on my jeans on the seat or something like that. She snatched my napkin. She talked to me like I was an asshole. She never brought me. I ate my whole meal without a drink. And then you want me to pay her extra just because that's what you're used to doing? Fuck you. We don't need to be friends anymore. So, yeah, tipping is some bullshit. But like I said, I have way more. Like I named the show I Hate Tipping. I have way more to say about that. Trust me. I'm going to get into it. I'm going to write down my notes in one episode in the future. We're going to get into that all the way. So, all right. Book plug. First quick story. Moving on. I got my cards here. My index cards with all my different topics. Hold on. Let me clear my throat and get a sip of hydrate here. You can't hear it, but the sun is shining. That makes me very happy. I'm so over winter this year. I'm over winter for the rest of my life. The only time I want to see snow again is when I go to it to go snowboarding. And then when I'm done having my fun, I want to go back to where it's warm, which means I want to move out of Pennsylvania forever as soon as I can. I've had all the hard winters. I mean, I know there's places that have harder winters than we do here, but I mean, this shit affects you. And the older you get, the less you like it. When I was a kid, I used to stand outside and just look up when it would snow, and I would just look up with my mouth open and my tongue hanging out, and let the snow land on my tongue, and it was just joy to me. Now it starts snowing, and I'm just thinking, fuck, are my tires good? Shit. There's going to be traffic because people can't drive. Damn it. How should I dress today? Especially with the weather now, the way it's all sporadic. Yesterday, I think the high was, what's today? Thursday. Tuesday, the high was like almost 70. Last night, it got down to 15 degrees. This is why my throat sounds the way it does. this up and down and not knowing how to drive. I took a hoodie and a big ass parka coat to work yesterday just because I didn't know what I was going to need. Moving on. So fuck winter and fuck tipping. All right, so here's some shit that's been on my mind. It's 2017. Like, we're already way past wherever it was supposed to be in that Michael J. Fox movie, Back to the Future. Like, their vision of what the future, I don't know, what was that, in the 80s when that movie came out, or the 90s, and their vision of what it was going to be like in the early 2000s was way more awesome than the world is right now. Like, we have some electronics and shit, but if we're being honest about it, humans, we're just far behind where obviously even the creators of that movie back then thought we should be. I mean, think about it like this. ATM machines, okay, how long have they been around? And I remember losing my ATM card in the machine twice. Like, where I did my transaction and the card was in there and I grabbed my money and walked away without getting the card. Now, that was my fault, granted, but it took up until I think like either last year or maybe 2 years ago for ATM machines to be changed so that you have to take your card out and then get your money. Like, it took when did ATM machines become a thing? Like in the 70s, the 60s, the 50s? I don't know. It took 30, 40 years for them to realize, oh, well, yeah, maybe we should change that. On top of that, think about this with ATM machines. How long were they in existence before they just recently changed it to where you can do more than one transaction without having to start all over? Remember how you used to put your card in the ATM machine? It would ask you for your code. You would check your balance. It would kick your card out and say, thank you, have a nice day. Now you can finally check your balance and it says, do you want to do anything else while you're in here? And you say yes, and you just enter your code again. Like, it took 30 years for them to fix that. The point is, we're moving too slow. Like, they're trying to make driverless cars now, but come on, like, it's the technology and the people are just, it's all over the place. Like, we should have been graduating as a society, as a race. We think we're better than animals and we need to be proving it. We're pretty stagnant and too slow to grow up, I think. So yeah, the ATM machines were a step. So anyway, here's a few things that I would like to see changed immediately. And then I got a whole bunch more, but these are things that bug me every single day. I'm like, why haven't we fixed that yet? Number one, if you live in a cold climate like I do, well, I mean, we get the seasons, but in the winter it gets very cold. Why don't we already have cars that you can have instant heat in the cabin? So in other words, when you start up your car, you have to wait for the engine to get heat and the radiator fluid or whatever to get hot. And then you'll get, when the car warms up, then you can get heat inside. Sometimes you'll need to take off now. You'll be somewhere and have to leave and go, and you'll be driving on the road freezing for 10 minutes until you can get some heat. Why don't we have just an electric heater built in so that as soon as you get in, before the car is even warm, it'll just can pump some warm air into the seating area of the car? What is the problem with that? They have electric heater technology. Like, they should have been had that. Or maybe there's something I'm not thinking about. I talked to my cousin about it, and he said, oh, drain the battery. Get the fuck out of here. People have floodlights and air horns and all kind of shit and crazy stereo systems that they play without the engine running, and it doesn't kill their batteries. A little electric heater, just enough to put a little bit of warm air in the car before the car is warmed up, the engine part anyway, is not going to drain your battery. And besides that, the car would be running. You get in, you start the car, and you hit the heat button. The heat comes on, and then once the engine's warm, the electric heater can kick off, and you could switch over to the heat from the engine. It's not complicated. It's not complicated. Excuse me. Issue number 2 with cold climate shit: we need to have heated roads. Like, I heard that they have this shit in Germany. I lived in Germany. I didn't pay any attention to it. Like, I heard about it when I was over there. Certain sections of the road are heated, and the roads are immaculate. Like, so they have the seasons like we have over here, at least where I lived over there. And you don't see construction, all the constant construction and potholes and cracks and patched up sections of road and like we have over here. Over here where I live, I mean, you step outside and go look at any road, unless it's brand new, they look like shit. Patches, giant holes that look a different color than the rest of the road, with cracks going in every direction, because winter destroys the roads. But if you have the heated elements or whatever, like they have that technology is what I'm getting at. We don't have it here because from my understanding, because of budgets and shit. Like, they want to have the roads under construction all the time so that they can continue getting money approved for whatever, dude. Fuck that. I don't want my alignment being thrashed because I excuse me, my throat. I don't want to hit a giant pothole that I didn't even see and have to go get an alignment in my truck because it dropped below freezing yesterday. Like, that shit happens overnight, it seems like. Like, you can be driving down the road one day and it'll be okay, and the next day you can drive down it and boom, you'll think you crashed. Your car will hit so hard because of these deep ass potholes that just appear out of nowhere. Like, we don't need that. We need to be moving forward, and that's another way to do it. So heated roads and instant heat are two things that we should have been had. TV remote locators. I came up with that idea when I was in junior high, I think, because anybody who has a TV has lost a remote, and it happens constantly, especially if you have kids. The reason that they don't have them is a button. There should be a button on the television that you push, and it'll just beep, 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 and you can find your remote. They go down and they fall down into the cushions of the couch. They fall under the couch. Sometimes you walk out of the room with them and put them in a cabinet and don't even realize it. There should be a fucking button that you push on your television or your VCR or whatever. Like, anything with a remote, you should have a button that you can push on the actual thing that'll send out a signal that will make the thing beep. And if the battery's dead, it shouldn't matter. It should have a secondary little calculator battery in it that will always make it have enough juice for it to beep. While we're on the subject of batteries, why are we still doing that AAA, AA battery horse shit? Remote controls should be rechargeable just like anything else. There should be a little base stand for it. That way you can put it there and you won't lose it. If you get in the habit of putting the thing on the charger on your table, your end table or whatever, then you're not going to lose it probably. Your kids will get it and walk away with it or whatever, or throw it. But then you have your locator button on the actual TV or the Blu-ray player. Now, here's the thing. The reason that they don't do that is because they want to sell you another remote. They would rather you have to buy another remote control than... I say fuck that. I say if a replacement remote control costs $12, then just add that $12 on the price of the television at the beginning to put the technology for me to have the remote locator, and then you're getting your money, okay? Because I'm not going to buy more than one replacement remote. Get your money at the beginning. Give me the convenience of having the remote locator. Done and done. Like, it just makes sense. Let's do things that make sense, people. And by the way, one company, I think it was Philips, did come out with that. I saw it once when I was in high school or something, and then it went away. It was just gone. And I believe, and I think I was told that it was because they would rather sell you another remote. That's bullshit. Another thing that I would like to see take place here sooner than later is car washes. When you go to an automatic car wash, you ever go in and do it, and you go through it, and you can pick the ultimate supreme package with undercar wash and blah blah blah, and the super polished coat, extra whatever bullshit. And even if you pay the $20 for the $20 job, and you go through and you come out, your rims are going to look like shit, and there's going to be like whole sections of the side of your paint that have dried dirt. Every single time. It is never. So anyway, what I'm getting at is a car wash is what it is, but say you're out and you have a truck and you go ride through the mud, and you know that the underbelly of your truck has a bunch of mud. Well, how about when you pull up to that damn box and you're picking your shit, you get the ultimate supreme package with the undercar spray and the rim clean and all that. You want to get all that mud off. How about an option to add different what am I trying to say? Like additional segments. So in other words, if you know you have a lot of mud under your car, how about you can add double underbelly wash, and it'll charge you $1 or whatever, but just have that option. Or if you know your rims are super dirty, or you just know that they never get clean enough when you go through, how about add a double rim clean job? Or, for an additional $1.50 or whatever, who cares about the price? The point is that way, or a double dryer. When you go through in the dryer, the blow dry horse shit that comes through, that never completely dries it. It does a great job. It's better than trying to go down the highway like I used to do with the self-wash, do-it-yourself job. But still, sometimes I'd like to go through that twice just to make sure it's extra dry, so there's not like streaks of water running down the glass whenever I drive down the road, so I don't have to get out with a towel and catch all the extra shit. I'd like to have that option on the menu. Would you like an additional Yes. That would be $1. Okay, cool. Beep. Anything else you like? You'd like double foam polished horse shit? Yes. Beep. Give me the option. I don't want to have to go through the whole damn thing all over again. That's what I'm trying to say. It's just like the fucking ATM machine. I don't want to have to redo the whole process to do two things. Same thing at the car wash. I want two things. I want the car wash, and then I want an additional undercar to spray to get more mud from under there. That's it. All right. Public restrooms, and then after that, we're done with this segment. All right. So I got a lot of issues with public restrooms. I'm a truck driver, so I do a lot of public restroom activity, and 9 times out of 10, public restrooms at gas stations are just places you don't want to be. You definitely don't want to be pulling your pants down in a public restroom if you don't have to. So I got a lot of thoughts of that. And then on top of it, like, you're an asshole if you go into a gas station and just want to use the restroom. They make you buy something a lot of the times. And it's like, what people don't realize that everything that you buy came in on a truck. Okay. And now you think about when you drive a truck for a lot of miles, like if it was you, where would you imagine that you're going to the bathroom all the time? Assuming that you don't have a giant big rig with a sleeper with a bathroom in it that costs $200,000, which most drivers don't. Think about where you're supposed to go take a shit if you have to. Number one, cops really don't like it when truck drivers pull over on the side of the road and take a leak in the bushes. They really will fuck your whole day up if they catch you doing that. Number two, maybe you would say, oh, well, you should just go to a truck stop. Do you know where the next truck stop is? What if you got to go right now? What if you ate a gas station hot dog and your stomach was like, no, and you got to take a shit right now, and the next truck stop is 50 miles up the road? You want to say that's never happened to you? You've never had a bathroom emergency? Now put yourself in that bathroom emergency in a truck on the road in the middle of nowhere in the middle of the night. And then take it even further and then go, oh, there's a gas station. And you pull up to a gas station, hallelujah, and you go in and they say, no public restroom. They look at you like you're not even a human being. Like, it just blows my mind. Here's a true story. I delivered to a place at night a couple years ago. I don't go there anymore. They shut down. Ha 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 ha. Anyway, I would go into this place and there was a giant garage door. I would open it, and if I walked into the garage door and I turned left, and bam, there's a bathroom right there. When I discovered that the bathroom was right there, I was so happy because it meant I didn't have to go. This was all the way in a different state, so it meant I didn't have to go to a gas station out there every night. So I started using the bathroom. Number one, when I went in there, the bathroom was always disgusting, but I would clean it. I mean, not the bathroom, just the toilet. Like it was, they pissed all over it. There was always pubes all over it, dried hawkers, blood, whatever. It was disgusting. But I would go in there and I would wipe it down just because I'm a clean person, and then I would do my business, do whatever I had. So the point of that is that bathroom was always cleaner than it when I left it than it was whenever I arrived to it. Well, that became a semi-regular bathroom for me to use every night. One night I went in there and I pushed my freight into the garage door. I didn't need to use the bathroom. And whenever I rolled my freight in, I was taking back empty containers that I picked up every night. And inside one of the empty containers at the bottom was a little card on it. And on the card was a smiley face with an arrow pointing up, and it just said, "Look up." And I didn't know if it was for me or what, but when I looked up, I was looking straight at a security camera. And it didn't even hit me. I was just like, well, what the fuck is this all about? Are they trying to say that I'm stealing because I'm black or what? Like, what? I didn't understand. And so I just looked up and smiled. And then every day after that, when I came in there, I would do a dance as I walked. I would dance in the building and then I would dance out. Just like, okay, I see you seeing me, and now look at this. And I would fucking drop it like it's hot or whatever every night. So anyway, fast forward a little bit. And I totally forgot all about that. And then, fast forward a little bit. And then I went in to use the bathroom one time. I used the bathroom and then I came out. And then when I shut the door behind me, I noticed a giant sign on the door that said, "This bathroom is out of order." And I thought to myself, who is this sign for? Because the bathroom was in the back of the store. So it wasn't in an area where customers come. It was the loading area. So the only people back there were the guys who worked back there. And if the bathroom was down, they would have known it. And then I realized the bathroom wasn't out of order. I just used it. Everything was fine. It was normal. It was the same as ever. And then it hit me that fucking sign was for me. They were telling me, so the first note about lookup was, we see you using our bathroom every day. Or, not every day, but all the time. And then the second note was, don't use our bathroom. I was so pissed off about that. And the point of the whole story is that if you were to ask those people, oh, well, why didn't you want them to use the bathroom? Oh, who knows what they would say. But if you ask them, like, so you have a problem with the guy who's bringing you your stuff using your bathroom? They say, oh, he should use the truck stop. I know this because I've heard this, and this is what you get. People treat other people like less than human beings, even when you're doing something for them. So here's my solution. It should be a law that public restrooms should exist in the world, because every human being needs public restrooms all the time. We know that. So it's just like there's a law that you have to have water available in any public building. Like you have to have water fountains, and you have to have so many fire exits and blah, this, that. We should have a law that says every mile of like urban area, urban area, there should be public restrooms. And I don't mean porta potties. I mean public restrooms that are attended all the time, like the rest stops that you see on turnpikes and shit, but not so elaborate. Just a little standard building with a male and female and like a transgendered. That's a whole nother thing, but whatever. Like just a male, female, and then the unisex bathroom, and it should be somebody's job to be attending that shit all the time, and there should be a water fountain, and they should be located every mile across every urban area across the United States. Period. That way, if you're ever somewhere you know you gotta go, get to a city, and you know within a mile you're gonna have a restroom. Period. And I mean, they should be clean and nice and government funded and like, what the fuck? Why don't we have that already? Another thing about public restrooms is, what's up with that gap in the doorway? If you ever sit in a stall in a public restroom, there's always these gaps around that people walking by can just look straight in. Always. Like, they haven't figured that out yet. Get rid of the gaps in the door. The Sheetz gas station that I go to all the time, when you go in there and you turn to the right to use your sink, as you're sitting there or standing there using the sink, washing your hands, if you look left, you can look straight into the stall, the giant gap in the door, and just basically smile at whoever's taking a shit in there. It's crazy. Get rid of the gaps in the doors in the public restrooms. Make sure that there's always coat hooks inside the stalls in the public restrooms. Like, I've been in so many restrooms with no coat hooks. It's like, what am I supposed to do? Drop my coat on the floor that has piss splashed everywhere? What else about that? No door gaps. Yes, coat hooks. You need paper towels in them in a public restroom, no matter what. Like, I realize that they want to save the environment using air blowers and all that shit, but sometimes you want to blow your nose. Sometimes you got egg on your face and you spilled something or whatever. You got something on your face and you need to go in there. You don't want to go into a stall that somebody just took a dump in and wrap toilet paper around your hand so you can go and wipe spaghetti sauce off your face. Like, have paper towels all the time. Another thing, if there's going to be a door going into and out of a public restroom, it should always open outward so that you don't have to grab a handle that everybody else is grabbing on. If you wash your hands and the guy next to you who just came out from taking a shit doesn't, and then he goes and grabs that handle to go out of the door, you don't want to grab that handle that probably has his shit on it right after he did. Period. The door should push outward always. That should be a rule. It should be a standard, whatever. If they have a door at all. I like the ones where they just have the maze. Like, we just go left and right and then you're in and there's no door at all. And that keeps the stench in or whatever. That's a good idea. How about more of that? And then there should always be a trash can at the doorway so that you can throw your paper towel. Like, if you're, whatever, trash can at the doorway. Done deal. These are things that I would like to see taken into effect immediately. Moving on. Next index card. I need some water. Oh man, it's so nice to see the sunshine out there. My plant is out there just stretching and loving it. I have a plant in my new place. I've never been able to keep a plant alive my whole life, and I was like, I'm gonna try again. And I got one, and I'm doing all right so far. I gotta go buy some plant food pretty soon. But that thing's on the table with the sun beaming in. It looks like it's smiling because it's always so fucking gloomy. All right, blah, 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 blah. All right, so next up. All right, I'm gonna do a quick movie review. Now, I'm not gonna get into it, but it's just gonna segue into something that's gonna segue into something else. So, and this isn't even a really current movie, but I saw it maybe a month ago or something. John Wick 2. Now, I saw the movie, and I talked to a bunch of people about the movie who've seen it, and I watched a bunch of reviews on it online, and everybody, the consensus 90% of people who see it say it's awesome and it's great and it's excellent. Excuse me. I'm going to give a different opinion. I think John Wick 2, for what it is trying to be, which is just a crazy action movie, is okay. Just like the first one was okay. The first one was more okay. It wasn't great. It was more okay than the second one just because it was a surprise. We didn't know what to expect. Like, whoa, And then John Wick, Keanu Reeves was blowing people's heads off left and right. And it's like, wow, okay, he's an effective killer and this is good and the action's great. Wow. My problem with number 2 is that instead of improving on it, they just tried to do more of what they did in the first one. So they're like, yeah, everybody loved it, the action and shit. Well, let's give them more action. They shouldn't have gone that direction. And here's the reason why. The thing that people aren't talking about with John Wick 2 is that a lot of the action is repetitive. They did a lot of different things to try to make it, fresh and unique in every scene. But ultimately, you got a whole bunch of headshot, leg shot, another headshot, leg shot, quick takedown, a quick scuffle, grapple match, headshot, leg shot, headshot, leg shot, headshot, leg shot. You get the point? It was so much of that I wasn't even trying to like analyze it and break it down. But what happened was that I found myself bored. Like I was just looking for the end of every fight. I was not paying attention to any of the fights. It was just like an explosion on the screen. And it's like, oh, okay, let's see who's alive at the end of the explosion. Like I didn't even care about the explosion. And I think the problem is with that they just figured that they needed to up the action when they didn't need to up the action. The same amount of action that was in the first one would have been perfect. Just up the story. They went more action with the second one and less story. The story that they tried to give us was corny. It didn't even feel right. Now there's a marker that he has to repay. Come on. It was just, I don't know. It just felt super generic. And that's where they should have put their energy. They could have done the exact same amount and the exact same action techniques as the first one. Gave us a more involved, better story, more believable story for number 2. And then you would have had an A+ movie. Excuse me. But that's just my opinion. I think the people who say that it's great are just, kind of mindless. They just, oh, look at that. Oh, did you see him kill everybody? And then he killed him. Oh, look, he just killed him and then he killed him. I need more than that. Okay, I also want to talk about Get Out, which is a more recent movie that I've seen. That, of course, 100% on Rotten Tomatoes and all that. If you haven't seen it, it's great. It's fantastic. It's amazing. It's excellent. Bravo, Jordan Peele. Definitely looking forward to everything that he's got in his brain that's going to be coming out in the future. That was the way that I judge if a movie was good or not is if I'm still thinking about it after I've seen it. And I thought about that a lot for a long time. And then I still want to go see it again in the theater. And that's a big deal for me. Like I hardly ever want to see a movie again in the theater. And I definitely want to go back and see that one because there were so many layers. It was so well done. It was just, I love, it's like we're looking into his brain, Jordan Peele. And I like what's going on in there. Like his brain and my brain could do a dance. I like what he did. But it wasn't perfect. And here's what I didn't like. So I wouldn't give it 100%. I'll give it an A. But what I didn't like was just one thing was at the end. I felt like, spoiler alert, whenever the main character made his escape, I felt like it was way too easy. I felt like there was just so much. And I understand. I've seen interviews with Jordan Peele. And he explained what he was trying to do with the movie. And he did exactly, it seems like he did exactly what he wanted to do. And it worked perfectly. But he spent so much time establishing the story and putting all these layers and shit. I think at the end, he just didn't have enough time for the escape that the movie deserved. Like it should have been a way more involved, series of events for that dude to get out of there. It should have been way more difficult. Like, it seemed like he just snapped out of it, realized what was going on, and just killed everybody and left. It should have been way, way, way more difficult than that. But other than that, I mean, I love the movie. I'll probably buy it. If I don't get to see it again in the theaters, like I said, then I probably will buy it on Blu-ray. Oh, my back, because I really, I dig most of everything that him and Keegan Michael Key have done, with the exception of Keanu. What the fuck was that? All right. One of my segments that I want to do every time on the show is a hygiene tip. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in there right now. And like I said, I'm going to get some sound drops, some sound bites to go with these segments so that we can intro them all properly. But so one of these segments, it's going to be a regular thing, is going to be a hygiene tip every episode. Today's hygiene tip is for blowing your nose. Okay. Now I read in my group, my Facebook group that I'm in for the Your Mom's House podcast, a female posed a question: how many of us dig up our nose or blow our nose? You know, what's going on with that? Here's my deal. I used to pick my nose all the time for a long time. And then one day I took a shower, and it was a hot, steamy shower. And then whenever I got out of the shower, I blew my nose right after that. And then it dawned on me that I didn't have to blow my nose or pick my nose for the rest of the day, because everything that was up in there was loose from the steam from the shower. And then I immediately blew my nose, and I was good for the rest till the next day. And so that's what I've been doing ever since. I don't ever pick my nose or dig in my nose, or usually have to blow my nose unless I'm like in a dust condition at work or something, and my nose gets irritated or whatever. But I take a shower, even if it's not a hot shower, but it's warm enough for a little bit of steam. I'll cup my hands around my face and run the water directly over my hands to get the steam, and I breathe in deep so that everything in my nose gets loose. And after my shower, I blow my nose, and it all comes out, and then I'm good for the rest of the day. So there's your hygiene tip. Take steamy showers and blow your nose after, and then you don't have to pick your nose ever, unless you're sick or something. I don't know. All right. Flipping back to the subject of movies. This is one of the big topics I want to get into today. I'm tired of seeing the same actors. I Googled today Los Angeles zip codes. There have to be like 300 different zip codes in Los Angeles, okay? And I also, after that, Googled the population of Los Angeles. It's, as of, I think, May of 2016, there are 4,031,000 people living in the Los Angeles area. I've been to Los Angeles. It's a super overcrowded place. But the point of all of that is, the point of saying all that is that 90% of the people in LA are some sort of entertainer or entertainer wannabe, whether it's porn or music or acting or in the movie industry, making movies, whatever. So they're all, that's an entire region full of people clamoring and struggling to get their chance on the screen. And I guarantee there's a lot of talent. I'm sure there's a whole lot of non-talent going on there, but I'm also sure that there's a lot of talent to be found in that area. And that's not even talking about Chicago and New York. Those are also big movie and television towns and music. So there's a whole lot of people waiting to get their chance. And I don't even care about that. My point is, I just get tired of seeing the same people. I don't ever need to see Denzel Washington in another movie. Like, I loved you in so many different movies, but I just don't, I'm over it now. Like, I don't get excited to see Denzel anymore. I'd much rather see some up and coming new dude. Like, I remember when I first saw, Jeffrey Wright in, Shaft. Was it Shaft? Shaft. People he played a Latino dude, and he's not even Latin. And I was like, damn. And when I found out that he was a black dude, I was like, damn, he's good. Look at that. That is what is exciting to me. New talent. I like to see what the next guy is bringing. And I want to see more of that. Like, that's exciting. I don't give a fuck about anything that Meryl Streep ever does again. Like Samuel L. Jackson, love you. And almost everything you've been in, but you've been in enough. He's been in 400 movies. He's not a box office draw for me anymore. I guess I'm different that way. I like new things, new. Like Julia Roberts can eat a dick. Bruce Willis can eat a dick. Matt Damon can eat a dick. George Clooney, great. Hey, good on you, but eat a dick. Retire. And as far as the Oscars go, fuck all of y'all. Like, all these same people just giving awards, handing trophies to each other every year. Get the fuck out of here. And I don't give a damn about all this racial shit where we need to have more black. Fuck all that shit. I'm just saying I want to see more new people. I don't want to see. Who's another one? Nicole Kidman anymore. Well, she hasn't done that much. Whatever. You know the ones that we just keep seeing. Mark Wahlberg. This dude's been in 4 movies every year since 1989. All right, since 2000. He's done enough. Retire, dude. Do something else. Start a band. I'll buy your CD. I'll come check you out. Whatever. And this isn't saying nothing bad about Mark Wahlberg. I just don't want to see him anymore. I'll put another dude in there who will bring something else that will be more interesting. The Rock, sure. He's great in everything that he does. I'm over it. I don't want to see him in Baywatch. I don't want to see him in anything else ever. Give it 10 years, then come back and make something else. On the subject of actors, who were some of your favorites? I'll throw 2 out there. Leonardo DiCaprio, I said years ago, should have won an Oscar way before all The Revenant came out. But it's solid, and I've been tooting that dude's horn for decades. Ever since, I think, The Quick and the Dead. I was like, that dude can act. When I saw Wolf of Wall Street, that sealed it. When he was on the Quaaludes, I said, that is a master class actor right there. That dude is the shit. I will watch that over and over and over again. Just that scene. Like, damn, dude. He's so good. And, but I also don't need to see him in anything else ever again. But I also want to throw out there my female actor, Tilda Swinton. I was on to her when she was in the movie The Beach with Leonardo DiCaprio. And then this is way before, like, my favorite performance of hers was obviously Snowpiercer. Shoe on head shit. That was insane. That woman is she's outrageously talented. And but one of my favorite scenes that she's ever done, if you've never seen it, and it's such an understated role, was in Michael Clayton. She played like some fucking evil ass businesswoman who tried to have George Clooney killed. And there's a scene at the very end of the movie where George Clooney approaches her and he sets her up, gets her on tape or something and it was just so subtle. Like, you see her building up. She's just like, what do you want? And George Clooney's like, what do you think I want? I want money, bitch. And she's like, well, how much? And he's like, I want $10 million. And she's like, well, what makes you think I could get $10 million? And he's like, does it seem like we're negotiating, whore? I want the money or fuck you. And she's like, oh, okay. It's done. And then he says, oh, you're an asshole. And she's like, what are you talking about? And anyway, it turns out that the FBI was watching and listening, and he was bugged and all that. And whenever it was done and the FBI was coming in on her, and he's like, yeah, you see, bitch, I win in the end. And she's like, what? You don't want money? That shit just kills me. Uh, she is top titty actor. Period. Um, you'd be hard pressed to find somebody more talent than her. Oh, another person who I don't ever want to see in anything else. Um, the old dude from fucking Silence of the Lambs, who was, I'll admit it, he's great. He was great in Westworld. He's been great in everything. Anthony Hopkins. I don't need to see him anymore. Do some fucking Allstate commercials or something, dude. No, fuck that. That's another thing. I don't want to see any more famous actors doing commercials. When I saw fine ass Russian, what's her beautiful eyes, Mila Kunis doing that Jim Beam. What was it, Jim Beam or Jack Daniels commercial? I just wanted to cry. Like, what the fuck is this? Actors in commercials, famous, big, rich, famous, ultra famous actors doing commercials is a bad thing. Leave those roles for people who need the money. So yeah, I take that back. Anthony Hopkins just retired. Do some teaching, teach acting or something. We have enough. You're great. Now retire. Do something else. Model. I don't know. Be a hand model. I gotta piss, so I'm gonna pause this. I'm not even gonna pause it because I'm afraid it'll fuck up because I don't know how to use the equipment quite yet. So I'll be right back. All right, the clock's still running. Good. I'm so afraid of fucking up. I've already fucked up a whole bunch of times in these first two recordings and ended up having to start all over again because I don't know what I'm doing yet. So that's what I'm saying, people. If you're with me, stick with me. I'm going to get better and better. I promise. I'm learning as I go. All right, where was I? All right, I was talking about actors. I'm going to just segue straight into a female actor. Is it actress? I think it's just everybody wants to be called actor now because there's no more genders or sexes. LGBTQ. What's your pronoun? Fucking horseshit. I want to talk about, just for 1 second, one of my all-time favorite champion beauties of the world, who is the wonderful Salma Hayek. Okay. And this is, I'm bringing her up because, number one, every episode, another segment I want to do is an all-time champion beauty. Yeah. So getting right into that, Salma Hayek is a dime, a perfect 10. Like, she's 50 now and she still looks good as any woman that you put next to her. Just physically, basically perfect. Like, the only thing I would change about her is make her taller because she's super short, but that woman is a queen as far as just physical beauty. Her eyes, her skin, her hair, just, of course, that body, like, it's unreal. And but my favorite thing about her is her voice. Like, I was obsessed with her voice for so long that I used to say that if I got rich, I would try to hire her to be the voice on my GPS. And I wanted her voice to, like, be on my answer or my alarm clock to wake me up in the morning. Like, I love listening to her speak, that accent, and just she that woman. Yeah, I would marry her ass now. Like, she's 50, I would marry her. She's fine. She's fine. But anyway, having said that, she's Mexican. And I want to use that fact and segue into something a little bit more serious, which is this immigration shit with Trump. Hang on. And Salma Hayek is also a really talented actress, but that doesn't make her an all-time champion beauty. That just makes her awesome. Like, she's even more awesome than that. Like, that whole thing where people were offended that she breastfed somebody else's kid. I think that is amazing. I love that. Just not afraid. What time were we at? 56 minutes. I think I had set the outro music for an hour 10. So anyway, yeah, I really just like Salma Hayek altogether. But she's Mexican, which made me think about Trump and this border thing, and which was been a topic of heated debate in this country for a long time now. Immigration. Okay. Here's my thought on it for what it's worth. First of all, let me say that I have a bunch of friends that are Mexican that are really, really good friends. So, and I've been to Mexico, so I have a little bit of, it's not like I'm just some outsider just talking shit out my ass. But there's something really bad happening in Mexico. And you have a whole shitload of people who are willing to work hard as hell for long hours for next to nothing. And I mean, you have just millions of them, or hundreds of thousands, or whatever the numbers are now, and they're all just coming and coming and coming and coming and coming. And I'm thinking to myself, what the fuck is wrong in Mexico? Like, if you have people who are willing to work, like, Mexico is a beautiful place with great agriculture. Like, that's where a lot of drugs are grown because they have a lot of sunshine and I guess decent soil. So what the fuck is going on over there? Why aren't they pumping out more fruits and vegetables and I don't know, wheat or whatever? Why don't they have economy? Like, why don't they have jobs? Like, they have they have everything. They have coastline, they have soil, they have population of willing workers. So what is the problem? Why is everybody over there, like, in the millions of numbers of people coming over here, like, desperately, like, a lot of them dying trying to get over it. They're running away. Like, what the fuck is the problem over there? And then so you have Trump talking about a wall. Keep the motherfuckers out. The wall is the worst idea ever. Remember the Berlin Wall? We need to be taking down walls, not building them. Like, what the fuck? That's an old idea, a wall. Like, that's old thinking. That's shit that they used to do back in the way back in the fucking days. We should be moved. That shouldn't even be on the table, a wall. It's stupid. It doesn't make any sense. Because number one, it's going to cost so much fucking money. Number two, it's just dumb. Number three, they're still going to be coming over. And number four, the elephant in the room is, what the fuck is wrong over in Mexico? Okay? If you have a house and your next door neighbors next to you, they have kids, a whole bunch of kids, and one at a time their kids come over knocking on the door asking if they can come over and eat. And you're like, oh yeah, come on over. And then the next time it's two come over, they want to eat. And then next time it's three, and next time it's five. And the next thing you know, you have all of their kids and they don't want to go home. You would be like, what the fuck is going on over in that house? You would say, you'd be asking them, like, what is the problem? Like, why you don't have any food over there? Why do you want to stay here? Like, I see your house. Your house ain't bad. What's going on over there? And this needs to be our mentality towards the Mexican. And this doesn't go into any of the other shit with the Muslims and all that other stuff. I'm not even touching that right now. I probably never will, because that just gets crazy. But just Mexico. This has been on my mind for a long time. There are next door neighbors and their house, at least from a distance, looks just as good as our house. Yet their kids keep coming over and they want to stay. What is the problem over there? Like, if that was your next door neighbor, you would have, at what point would you have called someone like, hey, I don't know what's going on over there, but something bad is happening, and they don't even want to go home. Look at all these kids. They have all these kids next door, and they're all at my house now, and they don't want to go home. And I'm not going to build a wall to keep them out. I care, what the fuck is going on? So my point with bringing this up is that what needs to happen is the UN, not just the United States, but the UN doesn't need to even have a talk about it. They need to already have, they need to go in. They need to put together a bunch of whatever motherfuckers on whatever level. I'm not going to touch on whether it needs to be militarily or diplomatically or what, but they need to put together a team that everybody in the UN needs to be in agreement that there's something bad happening in Mexico, and they need to go over there and either help fix whatever the problem is or make changes forcefully. Period. That's how I feel about that. All right, one last thing. Or was this two nice things? Or nice. What was this? I did that. Oh, no. I got a couple more things. All right. Quickly. Another segment that I want to do every time. So we have Hygiene Tip. We have All-Time Champion Beauty. Those are two segments I'm going to do every time. So far, we have Salma Hayek is the first All-Time Champion Beauty. From episode 1, I didn't do one, but I did mention Jennifer Lawrence. She's not on that list of all-time champion beauties, but she is a woman that I would marry her ass like immediately. Like if I ever had the chance to date her, like I just know that we would get along, and I put a ring on it. Something about her, it's in her face. She just looks like home. But anyway, another segment I want to try to do every time is something I bought recently, just to put it out there in case any of you who might happen to be listening to this might be in the market for something. So this will tell you whether I liked it or didn't. So it's a bed. I bought a Sealy Posturepedic King's Thorn Hybrid Plush bed, queen size. I would have loved to have had a king size. My last bed was a king size, but the room in the apartment that I live in right now is kind of small for a king size. And besides, this is a very expensive bed. Like I got it for $1,200, a little over $1,200, but that was 50% off regular. The regular price for this queen size bed was $2,400. So the king size would be even more. I don't know how much, but for my salary, that's very expensive. But this was the first good bed that I've ever had in my life. And I'm going to tell you, I have a hard time getting out of this thing every day. It's that good. I had watched a whole bunch of reviews about beds, like all these new online beds like Voila and Casper and Purple. And I don't know, there's like 50 new beds that you can buy online, and they come like compressed, and you zip them, or you cut the plastic and they pop open and expand, and they're supposed to be the shit, and because you save all this money. Well, they're still expensive, but you save some money by not having the middleman and the store and all that. And I was gonna get the Voila hybrid bed, and if you don't know what a hybrid bed is, it's got memory foam, it's got foam and the springs. A regular mattress, traditional mattress, just has springs and padding or whatever. Then the new shit is the memory foam and latex foam beds, which I don't like. My mom has one, and you just basically sink down into them, and you just they make you hot and shit. I don't like them. Hybrid has both. It has the springs, and then it has the pad or the foam on top. And I had decided after watching a bunch of reviews that I was going to get the Voila medium plush. I think plush or softness, and it was about $1,000. But I didn't have the money for it yet. And I was sleeping on an air mattress in my new place because I was trying to wait and save and do everything in time. And I started off with a fucking futon, and that didn't last a week. That didn't work. I mean, as a couch in the living room, I had to go use credit and get a couch financed. And then my back was hurting so bad from the air mattress I was sleeping on that I had to go use credit and get a mattress or get a bed. And I'll tell you, this bed is incredible. It's the first good bed I've ever had in my life. I'm 41, and I've never had a good bed until now. My last one was from Sam's Club. It was about $1,000 for the whole set. It was a Serta Perfect Sleeper. It was great for about 6 months, and then it hurt, and it started like deforming. Wherever I laid all the time, that part of the bed stayed that way, and it really fucking sucked dick. So anyway, if you're looking for a bed and you got about $2,000. Well, how much was it? Yeah, the whole bed, queen size. The regular price was $2,400 at Mattress Firm, if there's a Mattress Firm near you. But I cannot say it's perfect. Like if I was rich, I would just get the exact same bed except in Cali King size. If I roll around when I sleep. No matter what position I'm in, I'm comfortable. It like takes care of your spine and all that. My lower back feels 90% better than it did. I kind of messed it up moving. Anyway, but it's an excellent bed. Yeah, so get yourself one if you have the money. If not, finance it like I did. Anything else? I did the hygiene tip. I'll save this shit for next episode because, well, it looks like I got like 3 more minutes here. So, all right, last thing. Like I said, I'm 41, and I've been thinking about things that I want to do in the future. And I'd like to hear from any of you guys if you do any of these following things. These are things that I've decided that I want to start getting into soon. And so I'm going to start researching, watching YouTube tutorials and shit on all of these things. So I'd love to hear any feedback, to any of you who might be doing any of these things already. The first thing is I'd like to grow my own hot peppers, like some ghost peppers and some, like habaneros and jalapenos and all that. And then once I start doing that and getting some actual peppers, I want to make my own hot sauce. I'm a big hot sauce person, and I love it. So I want to start getting into that. Any tips? I'd love to hear it. I want to make my own IPAs pretty soon. I know that's a whole thing, and I need to buy equipment and shit. And I don't know if it's like a meth lab, if you can't do it in your house or what, if the shit will explode. So I'd like to hear any information anybody has on that. I want to learn how to cook certain shit, like paninis. I like some panini recipes. Lamb curry I want to learn how to cook because I love it. Fish sandwich, like the breading. I looked up how to make Long John Silver's fish breading once, and I made it, and it was good, but I don't have that recipe anymore. If you have a good fish breading recipe, I'd love to hear it. I don't like panko. Please don't send me that shit. I like flavored stuff, not just like breadcrumbs. Duck fat fries, stuff like that. And last thing, please go and check out my book. It's called These Ones Are Mine. These Ones Are Mine. It's available on Amazon and Kindle. It's true stories about my life. They're all crazy and wild. Whoa, there's the music. It just kicked in. Make sure you be good, take care of yourself, and always try to help other people. Peace.